So hello. Again, I'm a little late on the video. It should have been up yesterday, but it's going up today, so it doesn't matter. It's really not a big deal. Anyways, today I want to talk about a video that Shannon, Creepshow Art, uploaded on her YouTube channel, interviewing Onision's fans. And I want to discuss it because I also used to be an Onision fan. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. One of the things that Shannon says that really stands out, in my opinion, is this.
I had always assumed that in terms of Onision, the onion boy himself, that most of his fans were mostly like flashes in a pan. Because the way he carries himself, at least to me personally, is so repugnant. I couldn't imagine anyone liking him or being attracted to what he has to offer for more than a few weeks at a time before realizing, oh, he's gross.
And yeah, I completely agree with that. Recently I looked at my older YouTube account and I saw, to my surprise, that I was still subscribed to Onision and all of his thousands of channels. And I watched some of them, and goddamn, why was I ever a fan? I don't understand. I feel the same way as Shannon does right now. Like now, I find his content to be really, really repulsive. But there was a time that I didn't, and I was a fan. Part of it was because I was young and I was just introduced to YouTube, and like literally Onision was the second YouTuber I ever subscribed to. So yeah. And while now I find some of his stuff morally repulsive, at that time, that was just kind of like my new normal, Like your new normal is, what YouTubers you watch every day, what are the things that you do on a daily basis, that's your normal state, right? And watching Onision's content was my normal state. I used to watch his content always, and like a lot of times I would just put it in the background and just listen to it. And that was my normal. So I did not found it repulsive. Part of it was because I was young, but part of it was also because it was just a new normal. In the interview that Shannon did, a lot of his fans said that, they were interested in Onision's skits and not really the drama stuff. And yeah, same. I used to be into his skits, and part of it was because, it was high quality. Wow, I can't believe I said that unironically. I mean, like, let's look at some other YouTubers during that time. PewDiePie, he wasn't making meme reviews at that time, He was fake screaming into a camera because he was playing some dumb horror games. So, yeah. That's what I mean. It looked high quality, and I was interested in his skits and his skits only. And a lot of the drama stuff I used to ignore. Okay, so now that I've talked a little about, how I used to be an Onision fan, now I want to talk about this specifically, this response that an Onision fan gave about Onision's drama. And please note that I'm not hating on Onision's fans. God, I used to be one of them. So there's no hate going towards any Onision fans. So yeah.
I think they have points, but a lot of them come off as they are trying to be these moral crusaders when I believe they just hate the guy. If some of you guys would get off your high horses when talking about him, maybe more people would listen.
And god damn it, I relate to that so much. I remember there was a video that Repsion made on Onision, and YouTube recommended it to me, and I started watching it. And I watched like 1.5 minutes, and I closed the tab. The first thing that I noticed, the thing that I took away from that video, wasn't the substance or the message of the video. The thing that I took away from that video was his tone. That was the first thing I noticed. Repsion's tone. His tone put me off. And for like 1 or 2 weeks, YouTube kept recommending me Repsion's videos and other videos on Onision. And I didn't watch them. Like, I actively avoided watching them. And it was because his tone put me off. And I'm not trying to blame Repsion, okay? Like, looking back now, I understand why his tone was so negative. Like, for instance, while talking about Shiloh and her experiences related to Onision, how could you sound in any way, shape, or form neutral? How could you sound neutral in any way? You can't. Well, you literally can't. While you're dealing with the facts, you cannot sound neutral when talking about Shiloh's story. You can't do that. Like, how would that even sound? Like, hey, Onision, yeah, that video that you uploaded on YouTube in which your girlfriend lost her memory and you uploaded it on YouTube, like, that wasn't a nice thing to do, like you sound like an Onision apologist. Okay, you can't do that. Of course, I now understand that, but at the time, that negative tone put me off. Actually, now that I've had some time to think about it, it wasn't just because of Repsion's tone. It was also because of Onision. One of the things that I've noticed that Onision does that I have seen almost no other YouTuber do is he refers and talks about his haters in his videos a lot. I haven't seen any other YouTuber do that, no matter how controversial they are, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, for the most part, you make videos for your fans, for the people who actually like your videos and for people who enjoy your content and not for people who hate you. So it doesn't really make sense to talk about your haters in almost every single video, And notice the word haters. He often talks about his haters, but he never talks about people who are critical of him or people who criticize him, It's always haters. Look at the language that he's using. It promotes through the use of language that by default, he is a victim of hatred. And repeating the use of the word haters normalizes that position in the audience's mind. And that was partially the reason why, whenever I saw someone critiquing Onision, that was kind of the default position that I took. Because it was just normal, because he always referred to his critics as haters. And that was just normal, I used to watch his videos constantly and, I used to put his videos in the background and just listen to it. And it just became a new normal for me. And that idea of him being the victim also became a new normal. And you see it here as well.
I don't like it because what Greg is posting makes sense. He says, okay, then call 911 or something like that, showing he didn't do anything. If he did, he would be scared out of his mind. He is just trying to defend himself.
Look at the use of the word defend, who really needs to be defended? A victim, An abuser doesn't need defending. A victim does. And because he is defending, he can sound as cruel and use as much profanity at his critics as he wants because they are not his critics. They are just haters, right? Onision being the victim is the default position. This is something that I've pointed out in the last video as well, titled Onision as the victim. I have talked about this before, the repetition of the theme that he's the victim when he's not. But it isn't just limited to victims and this narrative of being a victim. It can be seen quite easily in certain things that he repeats. He repeats these quick and snappy phrases that really stick in your brain, Like before, if you remember correctly, he used to say, if you don't like my content, don't watch it. He used to say that a lot, And now he says, why don't you just call 911? And that sticks. Those lines, those stick. And because those stick, like they're kind of an easy thing to say to people who might be critical of Onision. Also, you can see this in the way that he uses the word honest, He says that he's the most honest YouTuber on the planet, and he repeats that. He says that constantly. It's not him factually being the most honest that matters. It's him saying it enough that counts. Say it enough times and it becomes reality, essentially. Okay, so that was it actually. That's all that I wanted to point out. It's interesting to see that a fan of Onision just repeated like the word honest 3 times in one answer. It's interesting to see these things reflected in the fans of Onision as well, not just Onision. One last thing I want to say is regarding this answer to the question, what do you think about Onision's drama?
If I were to break down the moral character of every entertainer I watch and listen to, I would probably be a very bored person, if you know what I mean.
Okay, to that question, there are certain things that are like for instance, there are people who consider family vlogging to be morally unethical. And the argument usually goes something like, there are children in these videos that are monetized and, it's exploitation of these children because they are not actors and there are no regulations. And you can certainly take that position and, not watch family vloggers. That's a fine position to take. And another position might be, these are children who are just living their lives and the parents are just documenting it. So it's not unethical. And you can take that position and watch family vloggers, I consider, family vlogging to be kind of morally ambiguous, okay? And there are other creators as well, like Tana Mojo, and like, she married Jake Paul. Why? Because of views. And yeah, that can be entertaining to watch, but isn't it also encouraging? So, like there's something there, right? But the thing is that, just one incident, just looking at the fact that Onision caused Shiloh a lot of stress, and because of that, she hyperventilated in the bathroom, and because of the stress that Onision caused, she lost her memory, and Onision recorded and filmed it and put it on the internet for everyone to watch. That's not morally ambiguous. It's not morally ambiguous like family vlogging is. You really have to go case by case on family vlogging, right? It's not as morally ambiguous. It's clear that you have to be a really despicable human being to do that sort of thing to someone that you love, that you like claim to love at least, And you would have a really hard time to make a case that it was morally ambiguous just by looking at one single case. Okay, I don't think I needed to say that, but anyways, if you like this video, give this video a like. Wow, that's a good statement. Anyways, if you have any thoughts, if you disagree with anything I've said, if you want to add something to the conversation, please do so in the comment section below. Subscribe for more content by me, and yeah, that's all that I had to say for this video. Goodbye.